Keto. Come on.
Do you want me to get the towels?
Sure. That'd be great. I'm going to use bolsters also this time because it's torture. And I do have 2 of them. One is here, the other one is by Sophie's little kitchen.
Okay, I can grab that. How many towels should I bring?
I would say 10. 10. And there's 2 sitting on the thing already. On the cut thing by it. By the thing.
Snow appears to be taking a nap.
Yeah, he's crashed out.
Yeah.
He's in Dad of the Year mode. Oh. Like a snap of your thing opening?
Yeah.
I love this. Moving some butter. Oh, the bookshelves can be full because they'll fix my book can be full.
A beautiful library.
Right? Look, here's the other. There are all kinds of weird ones.
Yeah.
Like none of my weird powders. I bought every single book, but I don't know where they are. This is all fucked up. It's like philosophy of fiction, dogs and cats living together. But at least it's a full shelf now.
Yes.
With a bunch of cute shit for anybody who looks to
Enjoy.
Yay! There's no more double stacking. Except for there. This guy can fit over here, I'm sure. Fantastic. Right here. Hey.
Should I close the door?
Yeah, I'm gonna go pee, so I'll just. Sorry, it's cold in here.
It's okay. Yeah, I put on my long pants and like it's gonna be a bit chilly.
Yes. Quickly. Oh, Kubo and the Two Strings. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
Oh, this is one of my favorite pictures of myself ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn it into my.
I see.
It's not my profile picture. You cannot not see. Oh, good. It just freaking disappeared. Oh, my story just right there.
Oh,
At the Bali Spirit Fest. I was touring. It was so awesome. Back when I was a touring musician. I had to pay for it myself. It kind of sucked.
Oh, I believe that.
Keto still in there?
No.
And you got, yeah, there's the other bolster. Worth it. All right.
You want it?
I got one.
Oh, just one for each.
Yes. Okay. Let me just double check. Yes, bring the towels down. Okay, go to Zoom, sign in, join the recurring meeting. That's what I did. Oh, here's where a lot of the books went. She cleared 2 shelves off and mixed them with her books.
Oh. She wanted to expand her reading.
She just knows books are important, obviously. Mm-hmm. We could also do shelves all up along there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But I think if we just did you know, like row of 4, it could be really good. And we could separate them, and because the expensive part is the wood. You know, this whole wall was done with those shelves. Mm-hmm. And I sold them all on Facebook Live. Mm.
But you're saying do like a dark wood, but that kind of thing all up here.
I mean, I would love to make built-in with cabinets at the bottom, a nice, counter that I could display stuff and put toys and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, with underneath storage, which would be for like shooting. And a lot of the stuff that's in my office.
Yeah.
Could go here. And I mean, if I could possibly just get like a cabinets and put a thing and then build in a frame and set these shelves on a platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At least that's my dream as an intermediary step.
Mm-hmm.
I should price both of them out.
Yeah.
Because I can't. I'm telling my neighbor. We had some plumbing done. Mm-hmm. And this plumber that came over was so hot.
Yeah.
He was like buff and covered in tattoos and like talked about his kids in this way that I was like, and I'm not usually like this with people I don't know very well, but I was like, so are you clearly married? You know, I would regret it if I didn't say something. Are you in an open relationship of any kind? Yeah. Because if so, I think you're hot. And he was like, no, in fact, I have a 3-month-old baby and 5 kids, and my wife is pretty, I'm guessing, Mormon or Catholic. Yeah. I was like, okay, sorry about that. Worked up really a lot of my courage to ask, and then felt like a real, Anyway, so then I didn't hear from him for a long time. Then out of the blue, I get this weird text where he's like, so how's your plumbing? Anything you need looking at? You want to come over?
Your plumbing.
Just make sure your plumbing's okay. I was like, yes, fine, thanks for checking in. And then I get this weird message, this is months ago. I get this weird message this week, said, so-and-so will ask you a question about your Venmo transaction, which is how I was like, I look it up, it's him. He's like, what's your email? I lost it. And then so I emailed him and was just like, hey, how you doing? And then he sent me another email reply, and of course I wasn't online for 3 days or something, so he sent me another. I said, if you want to have a conversation, text is best, because I'm never on email. Yeah. So then he was just like, do you want to come out and visit me? On his job site in Santa Monica. So I'm not sure you understand about ethical non-monogamy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to that's why I asked, if it was cool, because I'm not comfortable with you cheating on your wife. But if you get a hall pass, fucking let me know. I will hit that. Okay, still no one has joined. I'm just going to keep my respond to him now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send him a cute picture. He gets an emoji.
Okay. You're at emoji level.
Yeah, well, I got too much to say to actually acknowledge his inquiry.
I'm not prepared to have my TED Talk on ethical
Right?
monogamy.
I am, but I'm teaching another class right now. All right, Christine, I'm calling you. It's dark.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to have you make sure I'm doing this right because no one has joined me again, and I hate to fuck it up 3 weeks in a row.
Well, I mean, it's possible that there aren't other people, but I'm not sure. So did you logged in
Yep.
with the info
Mm-hmm.
and you just joined the recurring meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So that sounds right. I don't know.
Is there any way to confirm it?
I can try. I'm nervous that it's going to try and log me in with
Yeah.
the info email and kind of mess it up, but thank you.
No problem.
But I can maybe it'll pull my CSUN login. Let's see. Oh. All right, let me see. I'm hoping that it doesn't.
If it does, we're still working the kinks out right now, so, or working the kinks in.
Let's see. My phone keeps buzzing at me. Okay, let's see. If I.
Okay. Well, my picture is gone. Weird. It does say recording, and it does say one person is here.
I see you.
Hi.
Hi, sorry, I'm in my garage and I closed the door to be zen, and I have a candle so you can't see me because it's really dark in here.
Perfect. I was just worried that I was looking at myself.
I see you and hear you.
Okay, good. Christine, I think we're
Hi. Hello.
good. Okay, great. Thank
You're
you.
doing it.
And let me just turn this off.
I'm going to mute myself so you don't get feedback or anything.
Okay, cool. And then can I make my, no, I like my video. I've just used.
Yeah, you can pin it or spotlight it, either one.
Okay, so I pin.
Just, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. So to participate in class today, I recommend you get 5 towels. If you have a bolster and a couple of blankets or a couple of blocks, that's also a great option. But we're all working from home with what we have, and so I've been teaching this with towels. Yay, it's so fun. I can actually see people or hear them. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions, especially if you want to figure out how to use the props you have. I'm thrilled that this is interactive because this is the 4th week I've done it, and it's been shouting into the void or yogaing into the void. So thank you for joining me. Yay, Zoom. Hope we don't get Zoom bombed. I don't know what that is, but I hear it's weird. So we're going to start out in Baddha Konasana. I like to joke that translates into wonderful pose because it just feels so wonderful. So first I'll show you how to do it with 5 towels, and then I'll swap out a bolster so that All options are covered. I've been doing this without a bolster in solidarity, but I gotta tell you guys, it's not as satisfying. And if you don't already have a bolster, it's probably the one yoga prop you could get that would really enable a restorative practice. Although there's a lot of fun stuff. So to make a bolster out of towels, we're gonna start, I got 5 odd shaped towels and we'll just, do our best. So I fold it in half and then into thirds. So I get like roughly a bolster shape. Okay, so here's my little imaginary bolster. Now, if you have a real bolster, you're gonna just go ahead and put it right here and go ahead and skip this part. But I'll be explaining it through for reasons I already talked about. All right, so some of these are folded from last week. That's kind of nice. So in half and then thirds or quarters, depending on whether you're using towels or bath sheets. And we're just gonna keep building this up. Maybe if you used all 5, you would get like a bolster, a satisfying bolster experience. Okay, well, oh, one person left. Hopefully they're just grabbing towels. All right. So I'm going to use 3 towels for my imaginary bolster. And then I'm going to take my next 2 towels and I'm going to create a little roll that's going to go under my knee. So I take that bolster shape and then I just make it into a little roll. And we're going to do one of these for either side of the body. Now I'm going to be a little sneaky and move this out of the way selfishly. You have a bolster, you'll understand. And if you do have a bolster, you need a little blanket. Normally I would just fold the top of one of my towels up, but as it is, I'll just set one there. Then you're gonna set your booty right up against the end of the bolster. Bring the soles of your feet together. Take your little rolls, one goes under each knee. We're gonna lay on back. Reaching the arms out to the sides, palms up if you can. Now, if your elbows aren't touching, which is a problem unique to bolsters, you may want a little bit more support for your forearms. So if you feel a stretch across your chest and it becomes a little uncomfortable, what I usually do is I take these little rolls and I just adjust them so that they'll support my thigh and the forearm. Now this is a restorative class, so we do long holds, some stretching, some meditation, and because of the long holds, it's important that if something starts to feel uncomfortable, that you don't endure it, you just find an adjustment that makes it feel perfectly wonderful. That's why we call this class Yin Bliss, because we really want everything to feel so good that you're just in bliss. But there is the idea sometimes when we're beginning yoga or even advanced practitioners that we think maybe we just need to stretch that, or maybe we're, our body just has to work a little harder than other people. So, don't acknowledge that so much. Let yourself be guided by, do I feel blissful? I like to describe Baddha Konasana as floating on a cloud that's perfectly customized to exactly support your body. Baddha Konasana lets the hips open with support. It lets the spine lengthen over the bolster with support. And it lets the heart open, the collarbone smiling to the side with complete support. How much easier is it to open up if we're fully, comfortably supported? So give yourself that. And if something is uncomfortable, make a change. Most common change people want to make in this pose is straightening the legs. Yeah, if that hip opening sensation becomes uncomfortable, go ahead and straighten your legs. You can also place your feet on the outer edges of your mat and lean your knees towards each other. you'll notice I'm still getting this nice spinal stretch. I'm still getting the chest opening. But if those hips become unhappy, give them a little variety. So let's take a deep breath in. And sigh it out the mouth. Relaxing your body as you exhale. Let's take another breath in, filling all the way up. Expanding the belly and the ribs. Even lifting the shoulders a little. And then sigh it out. Relaxing as you exhale. Feel yourself growing heavier. One more big breath in through the nose. And hold it. And let it go. Surrendering as you go. Now we're going to go through the body and consciously relax different parts. I'll say a body part, and on your inhale, locate that body part. And then as you exhale, fully surrender, relax, and release that body part. Sometimes it's a little hard to locate body parts, which is your mind. So in that case, I'll describe, little movements, flexing, arching. Sometimes if I'm having a particularly hard time connecting with my body and separating myself from the blah, 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 blah in my mind, then I'll actually, trace a hand. I'll bring a hand to whatever part it is that we're connecting with. And if you feel so inspired, a little self-massage is always welcome. And I'll direct you at various times to try that stuff. This practice is called Yoga Nidra, and it is such a powerful tool for deep relaxation. This is a wonderful tool for falling asleep, or like I said, if you're having a little bit of the mind running away with you, then this really helps to just allow that body wisdom to come to the forefront of your experience. So let's start with the forehead. Inhale, raise the eyebrows, and exhale. Let them relax and melt, surrendering. Moving to the jaw. Inhale, maybe yawning your mouth open. And then exhale. Let it relax. Let it melt. Let your tongue soften in your mouth. Moving to the scalp. Inhale, maybe lightly rock your head side to side to feel the scalp. And exhale. Releasing the full weight of your head into your towels, your bolster, your pillow, or dirty laundry, which also works to pile up for these things in a pinch. Any fabric will do. Moving to the neck. Inhale, maybe press the back of your head into your pillow. And then exhale. Release the full weight of your head, relaxing the neck. Coming to the shoulders, I like to do a little rotation backward as you inhale. And then exhale. Let them relax. Let them surrender. Moving into the shoulder joints themselves, the rotator cuff, this ball and socket joint that we don't think of usually unless it's got a problem. Inhale, press your shoulder heads outward, and exhale. Let go, let it all go. Moving down into your upper arm, the bicep and tricep. Inhale, maybe lifting your hands to engage the bicep. And then exhale. Let it all go. And moving down into the elbow joints. Breathing in here, maybe moving your arms to feel them. And then exhale, a blessing into your elbows. Bringing the consciousness down into the forearms. Inhale, maybe arching the wrist a little to feel all those tendons work. And then exhale, let it go. Moving down to the wrists. I like to do a little figure 8 with my fingers to feel those wrists and stretch them. Breathing in. Exhale. Let them rest. Moving to the hands, the fingers, the palms. Inhale, maybe stretching the fingers out. And then exhale, let your hands curl up into their native resting position. And bringing the consciousness back up the hands, through the wrists, through the forearms, through the elbows, through the upper arm, into the shoulder, and then into top of your trunk. Feeling your heart. Now, since we're all separated, feeling this quarantine keenly, saving the world by sitting on our couch, and yet so sadly separated from those that we love and encounter on a day-to-day basis, we're going to go ahead and put our hands in the heart and give ourselves a little emotional self-care by picturing those that we love. See the faces of the family members that you want to give a hug to but can't. See the faces of the friends that you normally would have visited or been visited by but can't. See your chosen family, those folks that have earned a place in your heart as family. Now we're revving up our heart here. We're just feeding it all kinds of good energy and feelings. And you may start to feel that heart chakra under your hand growing warmer and radiating a wonderful energy. The power of love is so immense. And so we're going to go ahead and send that love back out to those people that we love and miss using heart beams. So we'll take a big breath in. And as you exhale, send that love out like a Care Bear stare to the people that you love and miss. As if you could hug them with your soul. Feel them receiving that love. Feel them feeling your heart beam and sending that love back to you like the reciprocation of a good hug. And know that on the subtle plane, there is nothing separating you. And through that love, you can share space with those that you're close to. That's how magnificent and powerful the heart is. Now let your hand go to the side. Inhale here, maybe do a nice shoulder roll back. And then exhale, letting go, surrendering, relaxing. Not just the physical muscles, but also any emotional armoring that may have built up from these difficult times. Letting go of any fears that you might have. Letting go of anything that no longer serves you, so that that beautiful, enormous, powerful heart can operate without limitation. Now we're going to travel through our core, traveling downward to the diaphragm. This is the muscle at the bottom of the rib cage that breathes you. And so feel it for a few breaths, inhaling and exhaling. Feeling that muscle open out and down, sucking air into your lungs. And then cozying up to your ribs and gently squeezing that air out as you exhale. Feel the bottom of the ribs and around back where your liver and gallbladder are. And we're going to breathe in here, opening those ribs out as much as you can. And exhale, letting go, surrendering all those muscles. And further than that, softening and surrendering your solar plexus chakra. Solar plexus chakra helps us relate to the world. It helps us know our place in the world, our identity. They say it is where the seat of our self sits, in the I am sense. Self-definition grows from here, and as the breath tells the story of our self-esteem at every moment, it seems a wisdom to pay attention to how to bring peace and relaxation into this area. Quite a lot of times, if we're feeling an emotional wound, we'll clamp down on these muscles here, restricting our ability to feel the pain by restricting our breath. So a lot of times old pain kind of exists in this area and compresses the breath and compresses the anticipation of the pain that we might feel. And so learning to breathe fully and expand this area, to clear up any stagnant energy in this area, really does free us to a full emotional expression, which is really all that's necessary to recover from these wounds. And we all suffer emotional wounds as we move through the world. It's inevitable. There's a lot of us, and disappointment is kind of a part of life. But some disappointments hurt us so much more than others. You know, some disappointments seem like we're never going to get over them. But there is a way through and out. And that way is through the breath, the free expression of the breath. Because those feelings, they can't really hurt you. You know, they may cause pain, but they're not like a stab wound as much as it might feel like that. So we just often need to witness our pain, or even on a subtler level, our discomfort. And as much work as you do, it's hard, it's slippery. I just had an experience this week where I realized how afraid and in pain and just so uncomfortable. I'm a very stoic person, so I just did my duties and, you know, didn't give too much license to that. And then I realized how much I was afraid. And it was like I realized for weeks I'd been sort of avoiding my own feelings by reading a lot, which, you know, no one can really fault as a vice. It's pretty good, but it's definitely my evasion tactic, and I had been doing it solidly for weeks and still hadn't acknowledged I'm afraid of what's going to happen. It's a very scary time, and just admitting that, it freed me so much, and I had the most wonderful cry. My husband held me while I sobbed, and now I'm much less afraid, although I'm still really into my books. It has a more pleasurable character now because I witnessed my own fear and pain. And I've got some tools, but it still took me weeks to come face to face with those feelings. So, you know, it's a process, and I'm just a girl with some tools, and I'll share them with you. And hopefully you'll find them useful. And I'll also share my stories so you can hear how ridiculously I fail at this stuff sometimes. All right. Coming back to the body. We have freed our solar plexus. And we're traveling down into the tummy. Our soft, expansive bellies, which digest all of our food, transmuting the food we eat into the energy that drives our bodies, our precocious minds. And so let's breathe into the belly, this cauldron of transformation. Expand. Take as much space as you possibly can. And then exhale. Let it surrender. Let it melt. The whole waist, the back of your waist and the belly itself, letting it melt. Then moving down through the belly into the lower belly. The very top of the hips, where our womb sits, the second chakra, the home to our creativity and self-expression, where inspiration strikes us and creativity, both the fecundity of making babies and the soul-bearing act of creating art or music, literature, dance, or architecture, photography, however it is that you fall in love with the world and share your vision of it. That all resides here in your second chakra, the sacred abode. So let's take a deep breath into this very sacred part of our body. And exhale, letting it soften. Once again, releasing any armor that we might have built up here, letting go of any self-limiting beliefs that may have built up to protect us from our actual awesomeness. And from here, we're going to settle ever so gently into the pelvis, the hips, the tailbone, the root chakra where we connect to the earth. Feel the weight of your pelvis. It's a pretty heavy bone. Inhale, breathing into the bottom of your belly. Maybe pressing your booty, your sacrum into the mat a little bit to feel the tilt. And then exhale, letting it go, surrendering all those pelvic muscles, all those hip muscles, and those lower back muscles. Just let it grow heavy and soft. And down we go, moving into the thighs, the quads, the hamstrings, the upper leg. Inhale, maybe drawing your heels in towards your pelvis to feel the muscles compress. And then exhale, letting them melt. Down through the leg to the knees we go. Inhale into your knees. You can bob them a little bit or press the feet together to feel the knees. And then exhale, a blessing of peace into this joint. Stay healthy, my friend. And down we go into the lower leg, the calves and shin. Inhale, maybe flexing your toes. And then exhale. Fully surrender and release. And traveling down the ankles. Inhale, maybe flexing the feet to feel the ankles. And then exhale, softening and releasing. And finally come to the feet, the toes, the balls, the heels and arch, the soul of our body. That part of us which cleaves most often to the earth itself. I like to think of it as where we plug in the blood. Inhale, wiggling your toes. And then exhale, letting it go. And just notice what it feels like to be fully and completely relaxed. Noticing the heaviness, the softness. Maybe you can even tune in to the subtler parts, the beat of your heart, which you may feel in your fingertips, your cheeks. The ebb and flow of your breath, noticing how it's grown deeper. Noticing where the breath goes inside your body. Noticing how frequent the breath is. Maybe you can feel the movement of digestion in your tummy. All this symphony of body processes that keeps us alive. So often beneath our awareness, allow yourself to become enchanted right now with the symphony that upholds us. And maybe you can even feel the subtler flows of energy, the prana, the universal life force energy, as it spirals up and down your spine in a double helix, interweaving itself amongst the energy centers like wheels in your body. Noticing as the prana flows up into your body from deep within the planet, connecting us with earthiness to our mother, the planet. And notice how the prana gently rains down on us, star seed, connecting us off planet through wonderment and delight. And these two great forces, Father Sky and Mother Earth, they are united in us, terrestrial beings that we are. We hold both of these energies in us and allow Mother Earth and Father Sky to make love through our very being. Now let's stay here with the breath, noticing the inhale and exhale. The physical motion of the breath is a concrete thing we can hang on to. And as the mind sometimes wants to wander away, we're going to ground it in the breath. And if we feel that breath, we will feel ourselves. And if we lose that thread and get caught up in some thought process, it's okay. Have a good nature as you guide yourself back to the breath, knowing that this practice of learning to focus the mind where we want it to go, this is a lifetime's journey. Yoga has 8 limbs. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. The earliest writings about it are about 5,000 years ago, but there's evidence that it was passed down through oral transmission for another 10,000 years ahead of that. So there's 8 limbs to yoga that we know of that are taught, Ashtanga, the 8 limbs, or the 8-folded path. And only one of those is the physical motions, the asanas, or body posture. And one of them is pranayama, the practice of breath control and the changing of the states of the body and the mind through the changing and observing of the breath. The other 6 limbs all have to do with how to focus your mind, how to become meditatively absorbed in something, and how to use that to truly see the world as it is, instead of as we are, or as we wish it to be. In truth, the study of yoga allows you to cut away misperception and find the truth of things. And what could be a greater motivator than to actually see the truth of things? In our world so full of stimulation, this is the real gift, to be able to tell truth from untruth. So let's take a few more moments here, focusing the mind on the breath. Please stay in your Supta Baddha Konasana. I'm going to sit up and sing our invocation. But don't you move yet. I'll guide you when it's time. The river she is. The river she is. The river she is flowing. Flowing and growing. The river she is flowing. Down to the sea. Oh, mother, carry me down to the sea. The river she is flowing. Flowing and growing. The river she is flowing. Down to the sea. Oh, mother, carry me down to the sea. La 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 la. La la dee dee dee. La da 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 da. La la dee dee dee. Let's take another deep breath in. Sigh out the mouth. Reach your arms up overhead and get a nice little stretch. Maybe interlace the fingers, pressing the palms away. Pressing the upper arms into your pillow. Release the hands. Press the legs out long. Maybe point the toes, pressing into the heels and scooping the hips up just a little. Maybe flexing the feet and pressing the calves into the ground. Let's bend the knees and just drop them both over to the right, moving whatever towels or laundry or pets you have to. Oh, you can reach the left arm out to the left while the knees go to the right. A little twist. Inhale back through center. Exhale, knees to the left. Oh, the right arm goes out to the right. Oh. Oh, so nice. And let's just roll off of your bolster or your towel bolster. We're gonna go ahead and move it out of the way. Now my mat is on a nice rug, but if I don't have that rug, I really do like a knee pad. So you may, if you have a hard surface under your mat, want to take one of your towels and just fold it over to give yourself a little knee pad. And if you can make a little extra padded space on either side, that's good too. And then we're going to come up here in the tabletop position with our knees on the pad. Go ahead and tuck the toes underneath. It might be warm enough to take my sweater. Yay! I forgot to turn the heater on out here this morning. It's on now, though, thank goodness. So let us cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly looking up. Exhale, round and arch. Your own breath, finding your own pace. Letting the motion last the entire breath. Trying to stretch the entire spine as you do this. So for cow pose, I'm going to drop the belly, drop the rib cage, tip that tailbone straight up into the sky, look up and pull your ears back as you breathe in deeply. And exhale, tucking the chin, pointing the top of your head towards your mat, tucking your tail, pushing your pubic bone forward, pulling the belly button in, and arching like a Halloween kitty. Stretching from your neck and your skull all the way to your tailbone. And just noticing where you have more flexibility, where you might be getting a little tight from sitting on the couch, saving the world. Now we're going to do a similar stretch side to side. So coming to neutral, taking a big breath. Exhale, left shoulder to left hip, looking down along that left foot or past it. And we'll inhale back to center. And exhale to the other side. Again, leaning into it as much as feels good. And alternating, letting your breath guide you. We started on the left, so we want our final one to be on the right. Sorry about the beeping. And then back to center we go. Now we're going to keep the hips over the knees and slide the hands forward for puppy dog stretch. Bringing the forehead, the chin, or the throat to the ground. And you may be feeling this more in your shoulders, which are good to stretch out. But if you want to feel it more in your chest, you don't like that, you can open your elbows out to the side and then just really work that spinal arch. It's really nice to have an arch when we don't have to do any balancing to maintain. I really like to work my chest to the ground here. And you can slide your knees back a little bit and just find an expression of the pose that feels best to you. And then gather your arms underneath you. Gently coming on back up to tabletop. Now, we're moving the spine in all the directions that it goes. So we have front to back and we have side to side. What we need is our twists. So to do our twist, we're going to step the left hand forward, one hand's length. Swoop that right arm into the space that we made, coming down on our right shoulder. Now I like to put this left hand right in front of my face, making a 90-degree angle with my elbow, pressing into that to turn my upper body around. Some people are more open here. They may want to lift the left arm up. They may want to tuck it behind the hip. You can kind of grab some clothes and then use it to really pull that shoulder back. Get a nice twist there. Maybe, I really like the security of the hand in front of my face though. Then I tune into the hips. And usually they're kind of going off to the left too, like everything else. And so then just pull those hips a little bit to the right, hopefully evening the weight between your right and left knees. And that's going to square the hips and allow the pelvis to be held still so that the spiraling twist of this pose can be the most benefit. Take a big breath in here. And as you exhale, come on up. We're going to do the other side now. So this time, step the right hand forward, one hand's length. Swoop that left arm into the space that we made. Maybe pressing that right hand into the ground. Maybe try lifting it up as you turn your upper body to the right. Maybe tuck it in back here. Maybe you like it here. And then tune into those hips, right? They're probably leaning over to the right. That's just how the body kind of does this pose at first. So then just pull them over to the left. And I will tell you, for me, that is the most effective back popping I get anywhere. So if you like to crack your back, play with that a little bit. Because I'm fully supported. I think a lot of times when I'm twisting, I'm kind of sitting up. I don't know if I'm leaning the right way, but this, I'm really held in place. Let's take a nice deep breath. Exhale. Coming on up. We're going to set up for supported child's pose. So if you're using your towels, you're going to want to put them here. I've even done this with an extra mat or two. Or if you have a bolster, I'm going to place it here. So I've sat back on my heels, spreading my knees nice and wide. Keep that booty down on the heels. And you can slide this bolster in so that it just touches the inner thigh. Now this is a great pose to do without a bolster too. You know the supported version is nice, but if you don't have a bolster, don't stress. So placing your hands in front of you, inhale and really get the spine long. And then exhale, walking the hands forward, laying the body down, arms out ahead of you, one cheek or the other to the floor. Now I'll let you know at the halfway point so that we can switch to the other cheek. Of course, if you feel uncomfortable in your neck and you need to switch ahead of time, go ahead and switch as many times as you need. Now this won't be near as long of a pose as our first pose, but it will be somewhat extended. So there are a few variations you should know about. One of them is it can be sometimes nice to put your hands here so that they rest between your toes. That allows the shoulders to melt forward and gives a very cozy, safe aspect to this. Especially if you have tight shoulders, putting the arms out in front of you. Sometimes it's a stretch. When I first started doing yoga, this felt really good, but it was also a big stretch. So you can do that. Now, if your booty is a lot higher than your chest, and then what this is looking for you is more like this. So there's a few variations we can do. One of them is to take a towel and open it up, placing it on the legs between the thigh and the calf. Because the knees sometimes are injured, right? And they just don't want to bend that far. So this will help if your knees are feeling stressed. The other thing is some people's feet don't go flat here. Okay, so taking a towel, rolling it up and placing it under the ankles. So if your feet don't flatten in that direction, then they're supported and they can be in the position that's comfortable for them. There's no point in suffering. And then last but not least, if that booty's still up really high, and a lot of people just have really tight hips, okay, then we bring the bolster up to meet us so that the heart and the booty are at the same level. Right? That's just good relationship advice. I know, it's harder to tell jokes on the internet. So, you know, see how I lift this up, and then even if my booty's a little high, the heart meets it, then you can get that nice spinal lengthening without the stress of your body being forced into a position that it's not comfortable with. Especially if you're just starting out in yoga, you're just starting to find some flexibility. The hips and the lower back, due to our Western lifestyle, they get very inflexible. The muscles, they shorten, the tendons, they shorten. And it's really not effective to torture them. It's much better to coax them into gently lengthening. So go ahead and turn your cheek if you haven't already. If you are in an asymmetrical version of the pose with your face to one side or the other, I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the other side. And now I will ask you to imagine that I'm coming around the room and I'm placing my hands on your hips and gently pressing them down, gently guiding those hips into a deeper, more relaxing stretch. I'd like you to imagine that I'm gently pressing the hips down while I use the other hands to press all up along your spine, resting my hand gently on the back of your heart, and then rubbing the other side, your back muscles, gently helping you lengthen and feel the warmth of my regard for you, the hands-on adjustments. It's probably one of the things I miss the most about teaching in person, is making wonderful little mini massage moments happen. And if you're of a mind, you can even reach back, give yourself a little love in the lower back, gently pressing your fingers against the ridge of your pelvis, gently manipulating that big muscle of the booty and the thighs that sometimes get that tight fascia. You can reach back here, give your shoulders a little love. It's a really good position for neck rubbing. Oh, that feels so good. With the face down, you can get some really nice neck rubs. I know all my leg hair is growing right now because I just gave myself chills. You deserve it too. And then relax, melting everything into this delightfully grounding pose. And now we're going to gently find our way up, coming to a seated position. I often say this to the end of class, but it's better here in the middle so that we can just lay down for the last part all together. So we're going to do some neck stretchies. So find a comfortable seat in Sukhasana, which is just easy cross-legged pose. If you find when you sit cross-legged that your back gets a little rounded, if you're unable to hold a natural curve in your lower back, then you want to lift your booty up. You can do so, you guessed it, on a series of exciting folded towels. So even just a little bit really helps. Often we'll just use one blanket to lift up a few inches. Also, let's see. This class always goes so fast. I think we want to add a little more stretching in. So also, since we're up and about, go ahead and get a strap. All right. Now for these neck stretches, we're going to drop the head to one side or the other. And what generally happens when we do that is that we want it to go farther. We're like, I want my ear to touch my shoulder. That's what she said. And so we try and get it over there. But when we let that other shoulder lift, we're really denying ourselves the best aspect of the pose. So what we want to do is hold the heart open, let the collarbone stay in place. And when we drop that head to the side, yes, it may not seem to go very far, but if you fix the position down here, and then you let the head rest, this fixed position is going to hold the neck here so that these muscles can really stretch. Because if you lift this, it immediately stops the slack in your neck. We want them to be taut. We want them to lengthen. So just keep that in mind as we go through this, and luckily I can watch myself because I am just as guilty of everyone that's doing that, and I can catch myself. So be a better example for you. I've learned a lot teaching in front of the camera. my in-studio audience is giggling. Thank goodness for a peanut gallery. So notice whatever leg is in front or on top. You can have the ankles one in front of the other, or you can stack them, or if you want to be fancy, you can do fire log pose, which I like, but no, one of them does with me, so I'll just wait and we'll stretch that part separately. Place your hands on your thighs, close your eyes. Feel your sits bones. That's the part of your pelvis that dips down on either side and gives you something to sit on. Okay, let's lean a little forward. Feel yourself tip to the front of those two bones. Lean a little back. Feel yourself rock to the back of them. And then find that spot in the middle where you're seated on the stool of your own butt. And you can really feel that you're on the comfortable flat part of it. Now we're going to lean a little bit to the left. Feel the weight pour into that left sits bone. Then lean a little bit to the right. Feel the weight pour into that right sits bone. Then come back to the middle and find that spot where you're even and balanced. Side to side, and front to back. We're going to sit tall, lifting the rib cage gently up, lifting the heart gently up so that the shoulders naturally fall to the sides. Okay, there should be no uncomfortable pinching or squeezing by your shoulder blades. That should be more accomplished by a lifting of the heart that just lets the shoulders relax into position on either side. And now again with the neck, lifting the head up and out of the neck. As if you could make your neck longer. Gently, it's a lifting from kind of the back of the head. We're going to take a big breath in. And we're going to drop the left ear to the left shoulder. Keeping the shoulder heads even. Hooray, I did it. Letting the weight of the head, gently stretching the neck. And if you'd like to reach up, do a little rubbing, a little encouraging of those muscles to let go and lengthen, you're welcome to. Then inhale up. And drop the right ear to the right shoulder. Again, the collarbone stay in position. If you'd like to rub here, or even on the bit side is where I'm feeling discomfort. Give yourself some love, or just let the weight of the head do its job. Inhale up. We're going to go back to the left, dropping the left ear to the left shoulder. Again, that's only the direction it goes. And then gaze up to where the ceiling meets the wall and feel the front right neck stretch. Now turn the gaze down to the mat in front of you and feel the back right neck stretch. And inhale up. Exhale, right ear to the right shoulder. And go ahead and turn your gaze up so you feel the front left part of the neck stretch. I'm feeling this all on the other side. And then gaze down so you feel the back left neck stretch. And then inhale up. Oh, look, my shoulder went with it, darn it. I'm sure it was still good. Now, whatever way your legs are, we're going to just switch them. Gotta be symmetrical. All right, now, this is my least favorite sensation. But don't worry, in 5 years, you'll barely even notice. Inhale here. Then we're going to exhale, bringing the chin over the right shoulder. Keeping that resistance happening, that heart open. Inhale forward. Exhale, chin over the left shoulder. Looking back over your shoulder, making sure no one's cheating off your chest. I see you. Inhale forward. We're going to go back to the right. This time, if you'd like to place your hand here on your jaw, not to push, but just to hold space. So if you can turn a little more, you'll witness it. Release and inhale forward. And then exhale the chin over the left shoulder. Again, you can place your hand here if you like, so that you can turn just a little more and really witness yourself when that happens. Release, inhale forward. Now we're going to go front and back. But one thing to remember though is that when you open your head to the back, sometimes there's a tendency to just lift it up with muscular power. But there really aren't too many muscles here. This is kind of just a tender little spot where we breathe and have blood flow and stuff. So when we do our head back, we're going to come out of it by walking the hands forward until the gravity just brings our head forward. I'll remind you in the moment, but just so you know the idea behind it, you don't ignore me and do your own thing at your peril. I want to protect your neck. I want your neck to be super happy. In fact, this whole neck routine we're doing was taught to me by a chiropractor, and it changed my reality. This life is a pain in the neck. So, may this help you. So first we're going to tilt the head forward. We're going to do so by backing the chin up, like I'm going to talk funny, and then rotating the top of the head forward, keeping the heart lifted as if the heart could lift up to meet the chin. Feeling a nice stretch in the muscles of the back of your head. And inhale up. We're going to repeat that, putting our chin back like this, like we want to talk funny. Rotating the top of the head forward, keeping all this lifted. And then I'm going to take a hand, not to push, okay, but I put it in the back of my head. There's two things I like to do here. One of them is to sort of lift up the skin, and that seems to really help it stretch a little more. The other thing I like to do is to push my head back into my hand. And then release. Just a little push. It'll really help those muscles lengthen. Okay, now we're going to go back. So remember what I said. So for this one, we're going to funky chicken. Push the chicken, your chicken chin forward. Find it really helps me to make the noise. And then lifting the chin up as if you could lay your scalp on the nape of your neck. Now lift as much as it feels good. I like to lift the heart here, curl all the way back. I'll even place my hands here on the bolster and just really open up. And then walk those hands forward until you feel the head gently come forward. All right, nice. Now we're going to do our hips stretchies. And they're all going to be nice and laying on our back. So go ahead and move whatever props are in the way. Grab a strap. I just use my strap from my yoga mat, okay? But if you have a regular strap, you can also use a scarf, a belt, a shirt. It's all pretty useful. So come onto your back. Let's go ahead and pull the knees into the chest. First off, give yourself a little squeeze. Now you may just like squeezing here. I like to pulse so many things the breath allows us to ebb and flow with. So I inhale, moving the knees away. And exhale, pulling them in. Now if this feels pretty uncomfortable to you and your hips are just like, you feel like you're hitting a wall, you probably are, because some hips just don't do this motion. So just, do your best and adapt. We'll move through it fairly quickly. So inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to start opening the knees apart a little each time. Exhale, squeeze them in. Inhale, open them out. With your own breath. Squeeze them in. Open them out. Squeeze them in. Now when they're nice and out to the sides, go ahead and pick your feet up, grasping the outer edges of your feet or ankles for happy baby pose. You'll notice this is like a nice low squat, and you can squeeze these knees in. Now, for some people, this here is enough of a stretch. And so if that's where you're at, feel free to just rest here, using the weight of your arms to gently stretch those hips out. If you'd like a little bit more of a sensation, a little more stretch, which I do, we pull the knees in alongside the body a little more and press that lower back into the mat. So there's no curve in the lower back. The sacrum is pressing. And that's a little more of a stretch. Okay, release the feet. Extend the body out long. Reach the arms up overhead and get a nice length and stretch. Oh, it's so nice. Go ahead and bend the knees. And now we're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee. Kind of unladylike style, right? So the ankle's over the knee. Then pick up that left leg and interlace the fingers behind it, so that that bent right leg is being pulled into your chest. Now, depending on how flexible you are, you may want to interlace the fingers on the outside of the shin, which will pull that bent right leg in a little deeper. Now, if you're feeling a little bit of discomfort in your knee, you can keep the kneecap safe by flexing that right foot. If you feel more than a little discomfort in your knee, then you want to just back it off. Even if you're here, it's still safer than putting your knee at risk. So this is like pigeon pose. In pigeon pose, we'd be basically flipped over, and our entire body weight would be pressing this bent right leg into our chest. So be grateful we're doing it on our back. I love regular pigeon pose, but it can be kind of intense. So once again, the body tries to accommodate what it thinks we want by dropping that right hip. So that right hip goes down, kind of the hip sort of hinges around, and then that seems to let us draw our left leg up a little further. But what it's really doing is destroying our ability to stretch the actual muscle we want to stretch. So tuning into the sides of your waist, you want to press your left hip down so that the sides of your waist feel even. And when you do that, you should feel a pretty distinct shift where the stretch becomes not just about like the legs and hips, but for your piriformis muscle, which is a big muscle that attaches from your kneecap to basically your lower back. And this is the muscle that gets shortened a lot when we ride in cars and sit on our phones and curl forward and all those things that curl us in this position, right? So this is one of the best poses you can do for lower back pain. And it's definitely one that I come to and notice my experience is very different after the sedentary life of quarantine. So let's go ahead and release, extend both legs nice and long, reaching the arms up overhead again to get a nice full body stretch. Woo, and a yawn. And we're gonna bend our knees again, and this time cross the left ankle over the right knee. Picking the right leg up, interlacing behind the thigh, or if you like, behind the shin, which I think I can still do on this side, thank goodness. And then just feel your hips, wiggle them around a little bit and notice how that left hip goes down and the right hip goes up to accommodate the body trying to do what it thinks you want to do. So we may just want to press that right hip down a little bit So we can feel the sides of the waist, like right here. They're even on both sides. And then you'll notice that muscle. Usually I can just feel it's kind of feels like it's around the hamstring. I think it's deeper in the leg than that. And then if you want, you can flex that foot, which will allow you to stretch a little more deeply, more safely. That kneecap, if it's in the right position, once again, you're like holding it in position so then the muscles themselves stretch. But if that foot is just relaxed, sometimes it relaxes muscles that then allow the kneecap to get pulled in uncomfortable ways that can cause damage. So we like a damage-free yoga class. And there's so many ways to hurt yourself in this world. Let's keep yoga from being one of them. Oh, my poor leggies. So grateful for this pose and this time. Thank you for coming. I'm doing a class on Zoom. And let's go ahead and release. Standing the legs nice and long. Oh, already those hips are feeling happier. Keep that nice stretch. Where are we at? Okay. So then we're going to do a few more little leg stretches, but I'm going to move the sequence a little faster because I want us to have a nice, wonderful Shavasana. So taking your strap, we're going to put it around the arch of the right foot, holding it in your right hand, and keep that leg down a little bit, okay? So you're not really feeling a stretch yet. You're just getting your leg used to the idea, hey, it's your turn. We're gonna stretch. These are pretty big stretches, and there are a lot of big muscles. So then go ahead and pull your foot towards your face until you feel that stretch. Moving your hand up the strap so that just the strength of your hand and the weight of your arm are keeping your leg in the stretch. Now there's a few things we can do here. Okay, one that I like is to pretend like I'm stepping over a big stream. So I'm going to press that left heel into the ground and I'm going to reach that right foot forward like I'm trying to step over something. And did you see that gave me a few extra inches? Now my legs are both engaged, the muscles are engaged, and that's safer. That's safer for doing a big hamstring stretch. Okay, my belly's engaged. You can float that bottom leg if you'd like a little bit more core work, although we're winding down, so don't feel like you need to get your aerobics in. But I don't know, I kind of like, the leg kind of floats on its own, almost, it seems like. Okay, and then if you just relax everything, all of a sudden the stretch gets a little more uncomfortable, right? But once you're doing that stepping over the stream thing, for some reason, you get much more functional flexibility. Now take the strap into your left hand. Maybe move some props out of the way. We're going to use our right hand to make a kickstand. So my elbow's on the ground, my hand is going to press into my leg, and I'm using that to support the weight of my leg as I open it out and to the side. I wish you could see me from above because it looks like I'm doing some badass split, and maybe I am kind of flexible, but it's also like mostly just out to the side, right? So it's like can. And again, you can kind of just hang out here, or if you'd like to press your left heel in and pretend that you're trying to kick your neighbor in the head. Maybe not such a restorative idea, but it does help with that active stepping. And I can just go right down here to holding my foot, and that, I don't know, just gives me a lot more functional flexibility to think about doing something. And then again, with the muscles engaged, it's a safer stretch. Although it's in Bliss, you know, so if you're just like, lady, you're too intense, then maybe you just kind of want to hang out here and take it easy. And that's totally fine. This is your self-care time. I'm just giving you options because I'm an overachiever. All right, now we're going to pick that leg up. See how far it goes down when I have to lift it straight up. Different muscles. Then we're going to move it right over the center line of our body. Okay, so this is just a few inches to the left. So my foot is kind of over my left thigh, the left hip, the left side of the belly, or if you're super flexible, I guess like your left rib cage, but that is crazy. This is your IT band. It should be a gentle burning sensation on the outside of the leg. You don't feel it? It's like that foot. You don't feel it. Okay. I T-band, I get it. It's good to give it a little stretch though. And then let's go ahead and drop that foot all the way over to the ground. Letting it come all the way down. Now reach the right arm out to the right. I like to kind of pick my rib cage up and resettle it so my sternum is pointing more towards the ceiling. Okay, that leg is still straight, but if you'd like to bend it, roll with it a little more. Maybe you're super flexible, you want to grab the toe on that side. Maybe you're just happy out here. This is your wonderful twist. Let it be what you need it to be. Breathe in that space between the ribs and the hip. A full breath is going to bring you out of the twist just a little bit. See if you can breathe in that much. And it starts to untwist you. And then as you exhale, bring it out. Oh, back and poppy, good. Then we're going to bend that right knee and roll onto our back. Coming into half happy baby, like a big juicy lunge. And then I like to kind of rock a little bit over the back of my right hip. Okay, you got a lot of little muscles there that like the self-massage. And release. Sending your right leg down. Okay, perfect. Well, not perfect, but decent. Decent. Now put the strap around your left foot. Again, hold it up there, but without stretching it. Let that leg get used to it. Hey leg, it's your turn. Are you ready? And then gently start pulling that foot towards your face. And again, you may really like that sense of anchoring that right heel and then stepping that left heel forward like you're reaching, stepping across a stream that's just a little too big. Okay? And you can float it. All this is all pretty active. And again, it gives me an effective stretch that's much safer. And I did some more talking here, so let me just distract you with some blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and take that strap in the right hand, using the left hand to make a nice little kickstand. Then open that leg out and up to the left. Okay, until you find that nice stretch that allows your inner thigh to breathe a breath of fresh air. You can just relax here, or you can press that right heel into the ground and step that left leg over like you're trying to kick your neighbor. You don't really have a neighbor, an imaginary neighbor who's very rude. You're like, does my foot smell? No. Giggling, it's a part of life. Ooh, boy, that inner thigh really needs the love. My goodness, so much harder on this side. One leg may be very different than the other. And then we're going to pick that left leg up, and we're going to just let it hover right over the right side of the body, just past that center line. And flexing your toes back, you'll really feel it. It's good to feel it for just a minute or two, and then go ahead and roll all the way over, letting that foot come all the way to the ground. And again, I like to kind of lift my rib cage up, reaching my left arm out to the left. Enjoy your big, beautiful twist. Now you can keep that leg straight. You might want to bend it, right? And then you can twist a little more deeply. You may want to grab that toe if you're into Ashtanga and you're kind of a badass. That's cool. Or maybe you just want to rest here. Since we're about to Shavasana, that's probably the most appropriate. Let's take a big breath in. Exhale, melting into the twist a little deeper. Taking another big breath. See if you can breathe in enough to unwind a little. And then release. Bringing that last little bit of goodness out. We're going to bend the left leg. Roll back onto the back and come into our half happy baby. Imagining this wonderful lunge. As if you were flipped 180. Maybe doing a little of the self-massage, that lower hip, back area. And release that foot. Extend it nice and long. Reaching the arms up overhead. It is time for your glorious reward, Shavasana. Now, in classical Shavasana, you don't even have to move. Okay, the arms and legs can take up as much room as you like, and you can just rest here through the end of class. You can also put your legs up a wall, which is how I like to finish in class a lot. If you have a wall, you can bring your mat over to it and just put your legs up the wall. Make sure your booty's far enough away from the wall that you can just lean your legs against the wall and relax them there instead of feeling like you've got to be constantly holding your legs up. The other adjustment that's nice is if you have a tender lower back, go ahead and take the towel and you can either, well, I don't know, you can just put it directly under there, which might feel nice. Or you take your bolster, your little towel bolster, and you put it under the thighs. And that'll just lift up the tailbone, the sacrum area, so that they're not, sometimes feels a little too much. Palms up, arms out. And we're going to think back to that first part of class when we deeply and consciously relaxed every part of our body. Maybe even quickly going through that little checklist now as you release the full weight of your head, your shoulders, your arms, your rib cage, your tummy, your pelvis, your legs, and your feet. Surrendering them deeply to the gravity of the earth. Letting all of your muscles soften. Letting your tendons soften. Letting your skin soften. Letting your mind soften. Letting your heart soften. Letting even your identity soften. Letting it all fade around the edges, like these beautiful misty mornings we've been having, where you become more and more indistinct, till it's like you're floating away into the void. And continue to lay there, melting. I'm going to sing a wonderful song that I don't remember the words to, so I'm going to look them up right now. Usually everybody's asleep and can't see this. Seems like a very nice song for the times. Bring away the beggar, bring away the king, and every man in his degree. Bring away the oldest and the youngest thing. Come to death and follow me. Dance, dance, the shaking of the sheets. Dance, dance, when you hear the piper play. The shaking of the sheets with me. Bring away the merchant who made his money in France, and the crafty banker too. When you hear the piper, you and I must dance, the dance that everyone must do. Dance, dance, the shaking of the sheets. Dance, dance, when you hear the piper play. Everyone must dance, the shaking of the sheets with me. Find you in the courtrooms, I'll find you in the school. You hear the piper play. Take away the wise men, I'll take away the fools, and bring their bodies all to free. Dance, dance, the shaking of the sheets. Dance, dance, when you hear the piper play. Everyone must dance, the shaking of the sheets with me. All the politicians of high and low degree, lords and ladies great and small, think that you'll escape and need not dance with me. If you come when I do call, maybe in the day, and it may be in the night. Prepare yourselves to dance and pray. When the piper plays, the shaking of the sheets, may to heaven dance the way. Dance, dance, the shaking of the sheets. Dance, dance, when you hear the piper play. Everyone must dance, the shaking of the sheets with me. Let's take a deep breath in. Sigh out. Wiggle your fingers and toes, gently returning to your body. Pull your knees into your chest for one final squeeze before rolling to your side and resting in fetal position. Shavasana, corpse pose. We allow ourselves to willingly enter the void with Shavasana. And as with all underworld journeys, we never come back without something. And so just notice if you brought any wisdom or insight back with you. Just notice, and perhaps now even let go of anything that no longer serves you, that you can let remain in the void. And as you feel ready, gently rise on up to a comfortable seat. And we'll end with one sound of Om. Just knowing that if you feel shy, you can Om along with us in your mind. And if you're watching this video later, go ahead and Om with us and know that, like those heartbeats, we will feel your energy join with ours as we sing the joys of creation. So Om is not just Om. The mouth opens all the way and closes all the way. So it's more like ah, oh, ooh, and then this void of silence at the end. And what this represents is life expanding to its fullest, and then contracting and returning once again to the void. And this cycle of opening and closing defines so much, and we honor it and our place in it with the Om. So let's inhale. And release. And then breathe in for our Om. The divine in me bows to the divine. Namaste. Hope you feel wonderful. You have a great week.
I know, I think it's recording, but anyways, I have
Let's
like
start out. Don't worry.
I have a package left for like live classes. I don't know what the difference is, if that can just be applied towards this, if I should do something different. I don't know what the deal is.
I'm not quite sure how Christine is keeping track of that.
Okay, I can.
I know that if you can do the Zoom, oh, I know. Yes, I do. You sign up for the class on our Mind Body. And then, you say, I'm going to take this class up there, and then that'll subtract it from your package.
Okay.
It means that we get paid, which is great because we haven't been for most of the stuff. But then, also if you're at the end of your package or you're having a hardship, I'm editing these and posting them on Facebook. So if you would like to save your package for other
I'm lucky. I work for a genetic testing laboratory, and I was already working full-time from home, so
now they're like, we need more.
Well, we don't do viral stuff. We do
hereditary. Do you do NIPT?
We don't, but I did prenatal counseling for 7 years, so I talked a lot about it.
I just got it.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm having a boy, and he's genetically healthy.
Oh, great. Well, I know exactly what that is. Congratulations. Yeah, we do like hereditary cancer and other genetic syndromes, and our sample volume's going down, but I'm still working, and I want to support you guys. This was amazing, and I have to say it was very nice doing it live with you. Your energy comes through the video. So it was really
I'm happy to hear that. It's so strange, teaching into the void, but at least I know that I'm doing what I can to help people relax.
Yeah. Well, it was much needed after a long week, so I'm glad I could make it. And I'll email, I guess, Christine and see.
Yeah, just go on your Mind Body and mark yourself as here for that. And I wonder, I might even be able to do it for you.
Okay.
I wonder, I could try.
Okay.
Yeah, let me try and do that for you right now.
Okay.
Because then if I know that I can do it, then that's great. And normally at the end of class, I would sit and do all this kind of stuff for people. So we're going to class schedule.
Yeah, I've never done anything online with you guys. I'm sure I can figure it out.
It just sits
What
right
the
in
mind
there.
bodies.
Yeah, if you just go to Prima Yoga Flow to class schedule, it brings up.
Oh, when you can.
Yeah, and then that connects you to, it's wellness living. It used to be mind body.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, normally this is where I would go to the front of the class and help people with any sort of this kind of thing. And it's letting me log in. Gosh, the future's great. The only thing is that in the next 5 minutes or so, if this doesn't happen, the next class may kick us off.
Okay, I mean, I can try and figure it out. I just wanted to.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it right now. I just wanted to let you know that if that happens.
You disappear, that's fine.
Oh, no scheduled sessions. What? This is March. Let's go to. Is that the last time? Last time I logged on.
Wow.
It's quite slow.
And you have a little one already at home, right? 3?
I do. Here we go. Yin Bliss. Wait, that's March 21st. We're definitely in April.
Yeah, way into April.
I was looking and it said Imabile was teaching. No. This is 4 ago. Okay, 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to work. I'll just want to confirm your name in a second. And thank you so much. It's really, part of the reason I teach yoga is because it's so wonderful to be able to give something to people that they just keep coming back for. Like I do a lot of music, and it's a bitch to get paid for music. Like no one wants to pay you. And after a certain point, even after paying for all my degrees and stuff, I'm like, well, why don't people want to pay me for this? Because it's just, okay. So Rishona?
Yeah.
Rishona Lavi.
Yes.
Okay, I have added you.
Thank you.
And then you got a 20 class package. It looks like you have 12 classes left.
Awesome. I know I was still, I did a Groupon, I did 5 classes, and then I was like getting into coming to you guys like once or twice a week and like really like developing a practice, and then I was like, now I'm stuck at home.
Then everything got real complicated.
Yeah.
All right, well, I've added you. Thank you so much. I appreciate getting paid so much. And I was just in the middle of my anecdote about trying to get paid as a musician. It's like pulling teeth, but I tell you what, you say you're teaching a yoga class, people line up and then give you money, and then they thank you afterwards. And that, for me, gave me what I had hoped to get from music, which was to be of service to people, and especially helping people to relax and feel better.
Your singing is beautiful as well, so.
Thanks. You know the joke about getting a degree in the liberal arts, right? They're like, would you like fries with that? So I'm like, yeah, I got a liberal arts degree. Let's reach our arms up, take a big breath in. Worth it.
Thank you. And yeah, I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah. Have a wonderful week, darling.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Okay. No, I just want to leave the